You're going live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Channeling Spirit Friday. And I'm really excited today because I've got my gal pal here, Rachel Sahwany here. Hey, Rachel.
Hello.
We are live streaming on Rachel's channel and my channel. We do this every Friday. And today she said she has Mary Magdalene come in. And I just got out of a really long meditation with her, and she did have a message. And today she wanted to talk about, at least with me, is that you're not meant to have these overactive minds, that we're going through a big ascension process. And part of her message that she said to me is that you're not alone. During the spiritual journey, you are not alone. Like, whether you're doing your spiritual journey for awakening, you're trying to reach a higher power, you're trying to connect to a higher source, you're trying to connect in with your twin flames, or healing your overactive minds, healing your body, there's nothing wrong with you. That all of this is part of the human experience. So she wanted to make sure that we knew that. And she said she encourages us to keep up with our open hearts and our higher minds and our higher health and our open minds, like to keep that as part of our as our mantra, to keep us moving in a direction. And she says, you've been told what you've meant. What you've been told has been meant to reduce you from your higher selves and God, to close you off from Him. And now it's a time that we're awakening up to that, to reconnect to that higher self and God. It says you're not meant to stay in your sorrow, your guilt, your shame. You're creator beings. You're meant to live, love, and laugh. It's like, you've tried the other way for a long time. So why don't you try feeling happy for a change? So I thought that was like a really beautiful message that just came through for me this morning. So I just wanted to share that quickly before I kind of jump over to Rachel here. So Rachel, how you connect with Mary quite a bit. What made you bring in Mary?
Well, she's like the first ascended master that came to me, actually. I didn't really know much about her story. I grew up Christian, so I studied the Bible and everything, but a lot of the truth of who she was is distorted from the Bible teachings, from what I've since then learned. But when I first started channeling, because I left religion a long time ago, but when I got into spirituality and I first opened up to my channeling abilities, which was in 2020, I started channeling archangels. But then one day, like by my surprise, I had Mary Magdalene come in like very strong. I mean, I started bawling my eyes out, like I recognized her frequency, and she just came in with this like beautiful message, kind of an initiation into her sisterhood of the rose as a keeper of the flame, and some of her Christ consciousness teachings that I yet had to learn about. So she put me on this priestess path and directed me to teachers and spiritual mentors that could guide me in that direction. And since then, I've grown a lot in my understanding of her story and her higher message, and how we're kind of interconnected and related from a higher self perspective. And so I then had a twin flame activation in 2022 where I could see that there was a relation between my twin flame, who's in spirit, and Yeshua, and also Mary and me. And so when I had that activation, I actually met Source and had a Kundalini awakening. And through that awakening, I actually had Mary and Jesus coming in, giving me all these emotional energies, showing me their story. It was mostly Mary, from Mary's perspective. Jesus is passing on the cross and his ascension. And it was just all of these like very high level esoteric teachings. So that's when I knew that there was, something more to her, as a spiritual teacher, as an apostle, as a feminine Christ disciple and representation of the feminine Christ within. That's also awakening right now through the collective consciousness on our planet. So her teachings are coming back alive, and a lot of people are feeling resonance with her and are having very similar experiences as I am with her, and just feeling guided to, or awakened to, teach more of her message. And so through my Patreon group, starting this year, I've been doing, through the guidance of her as an ascended master, but also like Mother Mary and other ascended masters, been leading people through rose order priestess activations, because she was part of the teachings of the rose orders, and there's different rose orders, like according to the color of the roses and things like that. But generally, yeah, I'm going to continue on that path, like teaching her wisdom and bringing more of her essence back to our consciousness on the planet. So I'm really honored to bring her in today. So that was why I chose Mary, because we all need more Mary, right? Mary
Yeah, we
Magdalene.
definitely do. That's wonderful. Well, that's great. So we want to take on everyone's questions here. So if anyone has any questions for Mary Magdalene about the Patreon group that Rachel is hosting, and even just our own spiritual awakening, moving into a higher consciousness, talking about health and healing, regardless of what you want to talk about, post your question in the chat. And I'll start out. I did read my message from Mary at the start about the awakening. Rachel, does Mary have a message for us that you want to start us out with while we wait for people to leave comments for us?
Yes, I do have a message from Mary to share, but just to let you know, when you were channeling or sharing that message from her, I just felt like she was showing me like angel wings. I was feeling her energy come through, but she was showing me like as if we are all growing angel wings on our back. Like this is the process of ascension. And just to add to your message, she was saying you're all meant to fly free in your truth, to be your sovereign self. And that just kind of tied into what you were sharing, like free of distraction, free of anything that just doesn't feel authentic to your soul and your heart. And so that kind of leads a little into her message that she shared with me, which was really about 10 minutes before I popped on the live. I asked her, what do you want to teach on or speak on, or do you have a message to share? And she said, yes. And the message is this: seek the truth in your hearts. Don't look outside of yourself for answers. Question everything and continue to question everything, as that is the path of enlightenment. The truth will always find you when you are least expecting. God knows your hearts. Thus no man can judge the truth that is found within. That is between your soul and God. Through your direct connection with Source, salvation is found. Always trust your hearts and always seek the highest truth of your own divinity and free will choices to align with your highest path in service to the all. The kingdom of heaven is found within. So her biggest thing is go within. That's like the number one Christ teaching that he taught. Like, as simple as it gets, go within for answers. Don't look outside of yourself. Always trust your heart knows the truth, and you're always being guided by your higher soul's wisdom to what is right for you. So that is kind of going into like, don't compare yourself to others. Don't compare what you're getting to what others are getting, as far as what aligns with their truth and what aligns with your truth, because there's a different path for us all, and we're all on a unique soul's journey, and we need to learn how to trust where that journey is leading us to at all times. So building trust and having faith go hand in hand, she's saying. So yeah.
That's so true. We've been experiencing that in our groups too, in my own private group, but we've been seeing that's where they're directing us to, into going within. And that's where it starts out with healing, is that when you want to begin to heal and change your overactive mind and change everything about you, you start out with going within. And the easiest way to do that is through meditation. Now, meditation is not meant to quiet your mind and still yourself and zone out and be separate from that. It's meant to begin to feel good about yourself, to know yourself and go within. And that's the first step that they've been teaching us with meditation. Go within, and once you see that, you actually end up releasing these chemicals of serotonin and dopamine that actually makes the body feel good. And now you're in a state of being able to receive. And it's like, oh, that feels good. There's something about that. And it's that's part of that awakening. As soon as you just quiet your mind. And it's the first step to everything, whether you want to channel, connect with higher source, connect with spirit, connect with Mary Magdalene, and begin to heal. It's then spending time in that energy, and everything is just a domino effect.
And she's also reminding everyone that she lives within your heart. So you're always connected to her soul essence. It's just trusting in that connection, believing in yourself to be able to channel the higher wisdom. Just tune to her energy. Like Khan was saying, through meditation, ask her to step forward. Tune to source first. Make sure you have a strong grounding cord from connecting you to source through and into Mother Earth, and just ask her to step forward. And you can receive messages telepathically or visually. I mean, we're all different in how our clairs, come in and how the messages are received. But sometimes you can feel her energy stepping forward, or she can wash over a feeling of unconditional love over you, which is very high vibrational. It can make you cry because these ascended masters and beings really love us so much, and their message really is all about helping us to align with our authentic core soul frequency and bring heaven to earth. Heaven to earth. That is what we are here to do. So, as light workers.
So true. So true. Well said. Thank you for that. So let's get into some questions. You ready for this, Rachel?
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah. All right. So we're going to start out with Fernanda here. So please post your questions in the chat if you want us to answer, and we'll just go through them one by one. So Fernanda says, question for Mary. I am being bathed in silver chrome light from the great central sun. Wow, beautiful. Now and for the next few days. What is this light doing? Thank you.
Oh. Hi, Fernanda.
Okay.
I'm immediately hearing it's a higher heart activation. I was healing, and for healing, because they did say that healing and higher heart activation. There's higher heart codes of wisdom being activated within you right now, but also they're showing me your solar plexus also. So there's like empowerment codes awakening within you, and they're connecting this to Lionsgate. Like there's some kind of activation, preparatory activations that are coming up. So they're kind of helping you line up with those portal dates. So there's more than one, there's more than one sequence of activations and healing activations. Your guides, your team, which is Mary Magdalene is one of your guides, your main guides, one of your main priestess guides. So this is about rising into your priestess power, embodying your higher heart's wisdom, activating your soul's codes, like your codes of knowing and remembrance, your empowerment through your solar plexus, which is really going to be peaking on the triple portal date. Well, I say triple because it's an 888 year. The year is 8, so the 88 is Lionsgate, which is August 8th, but it's an 888, so it's like a triple flame activation. I'm going to be leading an activation on that in my Patreon group around that time with the solar god and goddesses of Helios and Vesta, which are also twin flames, but not to get sidetracked. But generally, they're just showing me there's a sequence of events. They're going to lead you through these activations, your team. So just trust your intuition and how they're guiding you, and continue to go. It's like a cleansing process as well. There's like a cleansing, because they're showing me the silver light. Is it silver? Yeah. It has like a cleansing and a healing effect. So it is partly to kind of pull up any like fears or lower density emotions or feelings or energies just in general that could be toxic to your body that are just wanting to be released and cleansed. It's a very high vibrational light energy, and so, but it's also going to raise your frequency. So they just keep showing me the solar plexus, like as if the solar plexus energy or frequency of that is going to like kind of rise up through the rest of your chakras is kind of what they're showing. And they're talking about meridians too. Like somehow that's going to help with the flow of energy through your meridians system as well. So they're saying eat high vibrational foods and drink like lots of like spring mineral water to really help release that any stuck energy. And that goes for all of you as well. When you're going through these like high level and activations or initiations with your guides or through these high-level ascension portal dates, just, that helps bring clarity to the process when you're tuning your body to that and you're helping your body release. It just helps you to accelerate that process and bring in that like clear sense of knowing like what's actually happening and what your guides are trying to show you through that.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I would say I think just confirmation throughout that, and that is definitely happening for all of us through the central sun. The central sun is the sun at the center of the universe, of the Milky Way, and that is presenting codes to all the suns, all throughout the universe and through all the different planets. So we're all receiving the codes through our own planet, through the central sun. And if you're sensitive enough, you can feel like you have, Fernanda. And that silver cord, every spirit connected into a body, a physical existence, has that silver cord attached to it. So that cleansing that you talked about is that cleansing, that connection to the divine source, that you can get down that downloads and information, the activation even more clearly. It all definitely makes sense and connects so much. That's beautiful, Rachel. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. So I'm Benesha. Thank you so much for that super sticker. We're going to read you first. Let's come to Benesha, and then I want to go to Doc. You have a question for Mother Mary. So Benesha says, I'd love a message from Mary Magdalene, please. Thank you so much. I'm just feeling so much love.
I just hear her saying, keep doing the work, soul sister. Like, just keep being you and trusting your intuition. And she just keep saying, more will come, more will come. So you're kind of going through an initiation process as well with the Christ teachings, the Christ consciousness teachings, and you're being led and guided to work with different ascended masters that you resonate with at that heart level, and Kuan Yin being one of them. And so you just have a lot of masters guiding you right now. So she's just telling you to continue following your high priestess path, because there's some kind of activation coming up with the Lemurian team as well. And your Lemurian guides. So she wants you to trust that path. She wants you to trust the path that the Lemurians are guiding you down, as far as like remembering your connections as a Lemurian priestess of light. And go to the temples of light during the night as well, or be asked to be guided to those temples for resurrection, she's calling it, like the resurrection flame, or just resurrection healing is what she's calling it. To bring up more light codes so you can embody more higher light codes on your priestess path. And that's going to help bring back those memories, so that you're going to have like flashbacks or flashes of just visions, visualizations, or scenes, places that you remember from Lemuria, is what she's saying. The Lemurians are the ones that are activating you right now. So, and the dragon guides as well. So, and that all of the dragons that you work with are part of the Christ Mother Sophia lineage. So just trust what you're getting, and as you're moving on that path, just keep allowing yourself to be guided to the next vision quest, she's saying, but remembrance, essentially.
Yeah, I'm seeing a connection with the moon. For some reason, I'm seeing some ritual work at nighttime in moon, and using the moonlight, which is actually the connection through the Lemurians, through that energy source. So it feels like there's some sort of ritual to do at nighttime through the moon, and connect it at that. It's almost like the balance between the sun and the night. So you're getting the day sun, you're getting activation codes during the day, and then at nighttime there's the moon activation. And it feels like there's almost like a dance or a ritual that's connected to the moonlight, that you would connect with your heart to allow yourself to open up into that consciousness, so you can receive the codes and the information without the distractions. So as you know, when you're in that night energy, there's that it feels like quite safe, that you're protected from being seen so much. So it's a very personal connection that you can have during the moonlight. And it feels like this is for you to connect during the moonlight, to connect with that that energy source and connect with the messages that will be coming through during that Lemurian energy through that night. And Rachel, I think you had to get something else to add on to that.
Yeah, just because when you started talking about the moon, she was saying a lot. Most of the divine feminine wisdom comes at nighttime, like comes through the night, whereas the divine masculine or the masculine is more associated with the sun and the daytime. So yeah, just what you were saying. And she was just saying at night that's because the unconscious mind is awakened at night. So like when you're sleeping or when you're, just relaxed in that energy, she was just saying it's a process of opening up, surrendering and allowing, just like think a question, think a thought in your mind, something you want to know, like when you're in a state of like centeredness and peace and calm at night, and just allow the information to flow in however it wants to flow in. It might flow in as a visual. You might see a flash of like a heart or something. Write it down. Like journaling and dream journaling are also important ways to get in touch with your unconscious mind. So because that's where a lot of our past life memories come back to. Like when we wake up from dream state, we might remember scenes or something from a previous lifetime, or just something our higher self wants to share with us. That's awakening. Yeah.
It's great info. Thank you for that, Rachel. I want to bring up this message from Doc because it's a question for the collective and directly to Mother Mary. Doc asks, could Mother Mary Mary Magdalene give guidance to the collective on any problems relating to the access to water or food, perhaps by continent or across the whole globe? It's a big one.
And she's pointing to you for some reason, Con. So I don't know. Maybe she wants to come through you for this.
Yeah, immediately I'm getting the images of the continents that are above the equator are not necessarily going to have this problem. They're not going to have these drought conditions. The continents that are south of the equator will experience issues with water access, but it isn't anything more than what they've been dealing with for a long time, because the southern continents of the equator are actually cooling down in temperature, and through the cooling will actually give them to be able to deal with the drought in a more comfortable way. So it's not going to be as severe for them, because typically in previous times when you have drought, it's very hot out at the same time, so there's water isn't there. But because the earth is the magnetic poles are shifting, the cooling is changing on the southern poles, that this drought will affect the southern poles more in access to water specifically. And when you have reduction of water, there's reduction in food. But they're saying it won't be as bad because of the weather. Now they're also saying in terms of the food on the northern side of the equator, it's going to be more food related. They're saying on the food relation side, this is what's really important, that we start being very mindful of growing foods. And I'm being shown an image of doing things like microgreens, because microgreens is very dense in nutrients, and it's very quick and easy to grow microgreens. So they're saying to consider looking at high dense foods to get the nutrition into. It's all about the nutrition. It's not just about eating. So when you think about eating, you don't necessarily want to be filling your belly with pizza and heavy things that are like alcohol, and that's not food. Those are distractions. It's not nutrient for your body. So when you're eating now and you're drinking, it's all about high vibrational nutrition. So making sure that you are feeding the body. So when there is a scarcity of food and you're putting high vibrational nutrition into your body, you're giving your body everything that you need. So the reduction in the amount that you're eating and drinking will not be as severe. So consider, and they're saying like switch over to that now. Start getting in the habit of eating high vibrational alive foods. And high vibrational means fresh fruits and vegetables, things that are more from the earth, more natural, that haven't been processed as much. Anything that's overly processed, it's no longer a food. It is something that's just passing through your body. It's like plastic. There is no nutrient value to it. So this is what they're telling me on that side. Is there anything you want to add to that, Rachel?
Just a little bit, but not much, because you kind of gave the details, and she gave me like a very one line message. The first one-line message was, trust your heart, your soul knows the way. And this was about staying out of fear and confusion. Always trust your path. Always trust that your heart and soul knows where to guide you in cases of famine or catastrophes, or, she wants to stress present moment living. Always stay in the present moment without doubt or fear of what's to come. Even learn to be uncomfortable with uncertainty and not knowing how things are going to be. But stay in the present moment doesn't mean ignoring those things. If that's coming into your awareness and your soul from your heart space is feeling called to mission work, she's calling it, to do something, to go take action on some of these steps, meaning, if you feel guided to grow a garden, she's saying inspired. If you feel inspired, the word inspired means something though, because it's you're doing it because you're a free will being and you're choosing to do that, not because you feel you have to do that out of a place of fear or lack. So always view life as though you have there's an abundance of life around you. God will what's the word? I'm hearing survive, thrive, but provide so you can survive and thrive. Okay, under any circumstance, under any conditions, God will provide access to the resources you need to live and sustain a healthy life. Or state of being, so you can continue on your path. So just trust your soul knows the way. But the other thing she said, and I almost wasn't going to share this until I started hearing what you were getting, because it matches up with what you were getting. But she said, learn to eat less and survive on more. Yes. But when she means survive on more, she's talking about survive on high vibrational living. Survive by living from the heart. The heart, when you live from the heart, you live from your passion, you live from your bliss, you have an abundance of energy, you have an abundance of joy, you feel free to be yourself, safe to be yourself, and that sustains you. That's living life force energy within that you carry within through your connection to source and the all that is, through your connection to the grand central sun, through your connection to Mother Earth. And again, the good intake of water and minerals that you're getting from Mother Earth, when you feel imbalanced in any of those areas, definitely tend to the nutritional aspects that Connie's sharing, seeking more nutritionally dense foods and things like that to self-sustain you. But generally, also, we get a lot of living life force energy just from the sun, just from being here, and through our connection with Source as we are guided through our hearts to do what we love without fear of that, without resistance to that. It gives us an abundance of energy, and we learn to eat less. We just naturally don't desire, as much food. I can speak from experience on this, because I can live mostly on water, throughout the day if I wanted to, because, when I'm channeling a lot of these messages, even after this, I don't have a desire, my stomach just doesn't want to eat heavy foods because, or even a lot at one time, even if it's healthy, I can't eat a lot at one time because I don't want to feel tired. It'll drag me down. It's I start to find and recognize that balance point within my own system when I have a lot of energy that's pure. It's pure source energy. It's coming from high vibrational sources. It sustains you for long periods of time. And so she's also recommending detox and fasting as a way to train or retrain or reprogram your body to condition it out of needing toxic foods like sugars, or having these cravings for things that aren't nutritional for your body. And again, find what inspires you. If you want to grow a garden, for example, you can that can be a spiritual practice that you can tune to Mother Earth and like actually support yourself through your personal relationship with your plants and the garden. So a lot of people are creatively inspired to do that for higher reasons than just because of famine or the fear that there's going to be a lack. So she's saying try to connect to the higher aspect of why you feel called to pursue that, or to, yeah, you know what I mean, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a full message. But it was a good question because that's something that can affect all of us on a worldwide scale, and it's always a thing, right? Because the conditions of Earth are changing, and everything's always changing. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Great response. I'm being guided to jump to more specific questions that people are having instead of general messages. So the first one's coming from Babette, and she's looking for some guidance because Mary Magdalene is assisting her in opening up her heart chakra. So she wanted to get some instructions and a little bit of guidance on that. Yeah, sorry. She's
okay. Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you go first.
Go ahead. Okay. What do you say about that? I'm hearing allowing in here. So when we're going through our spiritual changes and we start wanting to open up certain areas of ourselves, part of it is we get some guidance, say, okay, I need to open up my heart chakra. And we get fixated on opening up the heart chakra, and it creates a tunnel vision around it. So for all of us going through our spiritual awakening, trying to make a shift with our own consciousness and connect with our higher heart and our kundalinis and the opening heart, what I'm hearing is to allow. Now, there's a resistance that we have when we go into a spiritual practice, whether it's a kundalini, whether it's opening up your heart, there's a resistance that we have, that we create expectations. We create our own roadmap. It's like we go to Google Maps and say, well, I want to go to this country or this place. And we put it into Google Maps and it draws out a map for us. But there's a lot of different ways that you can go through small towns and villages, and you can get an exciting new journey to see things that you haven't been able to see before, rather than taking the main highway to that same place. So what I'm hearing for you, Babette, specifically as you're working with your opening your heart chakra, is to allow yourself to go down roads that you didn't expect. So as you're going into your heart chakra, can you do something specific? As you're breathing and opening up your heart chakra, feel your heart chakra and listen to the message that's coming from your heart chakra. There's a message coming from here, but not only that, there's a tone. There's a specific tone that is in alignment for you in opening up your heart chakra. So I'm hearing using one of the toning apps, and the toning apps just it's like an app that you can get on your phone, and as you adjust the frequency, you can change the hertz. As you change the hertz, there's one specific that's more for the heart, and I think we already know the heart chakra frequency. So get an app with a heart chakra frequency. As you're going into your heart chakra and you're meditating and quiet your heart, tune it to the frequency of the heart and allow yourself to listen, not to the hertz and the tone coming through, but listen to your heart chakra and see what comes through from your heart chakra as you have the tone playing at the same time. There's a rhythm, there's a beat that's meant for you. So every one of our chakras actually has a tone and a rhythm to it as well. It has a sound to it. And they're guiding you towards understanding the tone coming from your heart chakra. And you can activate that by using a tonal frequency generator set to the frequency of the heart. So you can look that up online, what that frequency is, and you can also adjust and play with that frequency to find the frequency and vibration that's in alignment and right for you. That's what I'm getting for you. Rachel, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. She was coming in. All right. So the first thing she said was, keep tuning to your higher self. And I think all the methods that Kwan was sharing are ways to tune your frequency so you can hear your higher self more, like speaking through you, so you can embody that more. She said, keep opening up and trusting yourself more. Um, and then she was talking about for anybody seeking the path of true enlightenment, she was describing it to be true enlightenment is embodying your higher self or your highest Christ light. Remember, Christ is found within. You are all awakening to the Christ within. You know, the Christ is just a label in terms of it's like a spiritual teacher or someone who awakens to their highest divine form in an earthly embodiment, in a human embodiment. We all have that ability to awaken that seed of Christ consciousness within and to grow into that beautiful tree of life that we were all created from our Mother, Father, God to be and to birth new creation. So she's stressing acts of kindness. She was also talking for you specifically, Babette, and anyone who feels guided to like familiarize yourself with like Yeshua or Christ's like teachings. And even the Buddha teaches it. Like there are many ascended masters that teach the way of enlightenment. So find a teacher that resonates. And even with you, Babette, maybe Mary Magdalene, there might be books with her, written by her, channeled by her. Grandmother Anna has a few that are channeled by her. The teachings of the true Christ teachings. Familiarize yourself with those. She also talked about familiarizing yourself with the principles of the law of one. And again, I wrote down again, she started stressing acts of service and kindness. So like if you feel guided to like volunteer somewhere or offer your services to a cause, and you know that you feel guided to do that's a way to tune to your heart. And then she said, live in love, be love, and give love freely as you feel guided. Be that safe place where people feel comforted just being in the vibration of your presence or your soul. So that's like when you know, like when you're open-hearted, you everywhere you go, even if it's just like the grocery store, people are going to get lit up just by being in your presence without you having to say a word. It's like the smile on your face, the light of your vibration will lift people up and awaken people to that higher heart, like aspect within themselves. So like, that's kind of what she was saying. It's the way you live your life according to the higher teachings of Christ and the principles of these laws of one and higher teachings, which is about, you know, service to the all and embodying our highest light.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that definitely goes in alignment for all of us when we're going through our own spiritual awakening, whether it's to open up your Kundalini, you want to work on your chakras, you want to connect with spirit, you want to connect to your higher self. It's all the same work. It's all the same. And it is moving into your higher vibration, moving into your heart chakra. And as you begin to discover who you are, you get the personality, the mindset, the conditioning out of the way. We start opening up into understanding who we are. And that is the Kundalini awakening. You don't necessarily have to go through a massive experience to have your Kundalini awakening. It is that you're connecting with you're connecting to a higher knowledge and source. Well, I know something now. And once you do that, you begin to understand people, you feel people, and you feel connected to everyone around you. And there's a love that goes out there. And this is, again, going through that higher practice of spending time in love. As you spend time in love, you begin to love everyone around you. You begin to understand others. And as you start loving yourself, which is the fundamental work of healing and opening up your mind, you let go of emotional trauma, you let go of the shadow work, you let go of all the trauma that you had in your life that you're saying, victim is me, and I'm no longer the victim. I love myself from that. I understand myself. When you understand yourself, you understand other people. And as you understand other people, your heart expands and the cycle begins again. And that's the ultimate level of creation. You're feeling, As you're feeling good, you're releasing all these chemicals in your body. Your body's feeling good. The body's feeling safe to be nurtured and loved. You start tuning into higher vibrational energies. You connect to the higher vibrational energies. You feel more love. You start creating because you're in a positive mindset now. You become inclusive and start encompassing everybody in that love. It's just that constant cycle that is the beauty of connecting into this energy, whether it is a spiritual awakening, higher self, healing, stopping your overactive mind. It's all the same benefits. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And we know that through the courses that we hold, through our 102 that we just closed out. Like, people just had amazing spiritual awakenings and connecting with their hearts. And it was just so magical as people connected and discovered, like, oh, it's healing. People heal instantly. It's beautiful.
Yeah, she's showing like a rose that's closed and it starts to open up and bloom and just like want to like be seen, right? And its fullest glory and highest essence. Like, a lot of us are walking around with closed, blocked heart chakras because we've been taught and conditioned to trust our mind over our heart. And our mind is kind of like survival based, like fearful, like how is this gonna be for me? And but the heart is more just free to be itself. It wants to live like open and free, like a child. It wants to play and be its free, authentic self without condition, without limitation. The brain or the mind is what like provides a limitation. And so learn to trust your heart more. Learn to live from the wisdom of your heart. Learn to let your heart guide you and give it more of a lead or a director's role in how you live your life. And but yeah, if you're blocked, then you're not feeling safe, you're restricted, your energy is like this, you might be uncomfortable, unsure, hesitant, but when you're alone, like through meditation, like really practice living even when you're like by yourself and nobody's around, like just practice living freely and from your heart and get used to what that feels like for you. And when you're embodying your highest soul essence, what does that feel like for you? If you don't know what that feels like, then you're not going to know the difference when you're being that or not being that. But there's definitely a difference. And it's the freedom of choice of what thoughts you align with, those that are fear-based, like victim, or those that are enlightening or freeing. So it's a practice, and it's hard to hold that sometimes, in our world, because like we've been conditioned out of it, and our bodies, like conscious, are conditioned to have like fear responses to trauma. So that is why the shadow work is very important. But when you go through the shadow work, you'll feel lighter. It might be uncomfortable in the beginning to release all of that emotionally, but then you'll feel lighter and freer on the other side of it, and you'll feel like naturally more authentic in your frequency. So it's surprising, but we're all on the path and we're all doing it, and it takes time. And be patient with yourself too. And no ascended master was perfect. Even Master Jesus, he had emotions too. We are human. That's why we came here, to be human, to have the human experience, which is very low vibrational compared to having the heavenly experience. But that's why we're here to integrate and merge those two together, and but still honoring our human emotions and human experiences, even when they're challenging.
So Babette says, I've been hurt so much by people. Yeah. And this is true. So, Rachel and I work with people globally and all over the place. And as we're going through these healings, we end up discovering the hurt ends up being done for us because there's a lesson we need to learn. We don't necessarily get the information that we want to get. We don't necessarily observe that healing because we haven't been taught how to observe the pain that's been caused on us. And then we realize it's being done for us. It's not being done to us, it's being done for us. And in that becomes our spiritual awakening. So one way or another, we are going to awaken, and we are going to move to our higher selves and connect into this higher self energy and discover and move into healing. And it's from this hurt that it causes you to focus, to get really refined. Say, what's that? Let me go within. And it forces you to go inside. And once you go inside, it's meant for you to observe. But what happens is we've been taught our overactive minds, it's just overprocess it, overprocess it, overprocess it. But we haven't been taught to feel it. And when you feel it, that's the active of the body. The body's saying, I'm now that's getting into sickness, right? The body's expressing itself. So even though you've been hurt,
there's another part of your comment that
I've been hurt so much throughout my life. I've closed my heart. I want to feel safe. Open my heart again. Feel emotional right now and speaking about it. Yes. So feel that emotion. Feel it. This is your body. It's coming up to the surface now. So your body is saying, feel me. I need attention. This is that lost little animal that's been neglected and forgotten about. And now you are the person to give yourself love. It's not your body. You're not your personality. That's just the actor suit. You are a higher being that is mothering over all of this. So you have the power within you to give love and give yourself attention. And that's what you've been doing through your spiritual awakening. Where it's holding you back is the fear of looking at the stuff that's hurt you so much because it's so painful. But I promise you, once you observe the emotion, the fear, the anger, the shame, all the guilt, all the things that happen to you, once you begin to observe it with the brave person that you are, because you are, once you look at that and face it and nurture it and love it because you are pure love, love yourself. Love that pain, love that emotion, face it. Because there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong that those events happened for you so you can discover yourself. So look at the pain. And this, when you do that, that's when you have that spiritual awakening. That's your Kundalini opening up. That's your heart opening up. That's when you really start connecting to higher realms, when you face the stuff that you're afraid to, because that's why it keeps on coming back. That's why people keep on hurting you, because your higher self is saying, okay, we haven't dealt with this yet. Let's bring it back in another way. So now someone else comes and hurts you in a different way. And it's all forcing you to go look at yourself so that you can have your spiritual awakening, your healing. But then we internalize it, and that's when we become sick. We haven't been taught how to deal with it. And that's what we're learning now. We're learning how to face these emotions, these problems, and give it love and understanding and just observe it. You don't got to do anything, just observe it from a safe place. Say to your body, you're perfectly safe. No harm is going to come to you. We're just observing, and just observe it. And then as you do in observation, when you look at the worst animal, the worst person, if you are able to sit quietly and observe them, after a while, you understand them. Anytime someone is in argument and anger and they're yelling and yelling and yelling, you just stop talking, you just watch. And you do that for yourself, just staying back and watch. And notice what happens. Eventually you get to understand them. Say, oh, they're a child. They're crying. They're calling up for pain. They need love. And now your heart opens up. You start giving love, and that's when healing begins. And then you understand that, and you heal a lifetime of trauma, not only in your lifetime, but generations. So you start healing generational trauma just from observing, understanding, exuding that compassion, and now you begin to understand people. And that's when you start letting people in, you start becoming all-encompassing. Your heart opens up and the cycle begins again.
Yeah, and this wanted to come through earlier, but I wasn't sure to share it because it's coming from Kuan Yin, but she gave this to me the other day. And it's just so, she wants to say this now, or this teaching wants to come in now, but Kuan Yin is the goddess of like compassion and mercy. And she told me the other day that first you have mercy on yourself, then you have mercy on others. But unless you're able to have mercy on yourself, meaning if you're being too judgmental of yourself, you're being too hard on yourself, you talk negative to yourself, then you don't really know what it means to have mercy for others, to have compassion for others, because you must feel that for yourself first, embody that for yourself, and then you naturally have mercy for others, right? Because you've shown yourself mercy, you've forgiven yourself. So forgiving others becomes very easy after you've learned to heal that for yourself, if that makes sense. But that by mercy, she means self-compassion. Like, don't be hard on yourself. Don't be like talking mean to yourself, or just hard on yourself, like negative towards yourself. because you made a mistake or this or that, like whatever it is, like even just overly critical of how you do things. Oh, I should have done it like this and I didn't do it like this, like that's that hyperactive mind that Khan was talking about, Mary was saying in the beginning, that there's a lot of negative thoughts happening. So being the neutral observer of your thoughts and kind of taking I don't want to say control, but that is kind of a sense of like being empowered to like choose or align with a different version of thought for yourself, like how you actually talk to yourself. And it's okay. It's okay if you did something that, didn't go the way you wanted it to. That's okay. We're human. We're here to have that experience and learn through that experience and overcome that experience. And that's what gives us the feeling of being strong, because we didn't just come in that way. We had to like grow into that. And it's that process of growing into that gives us that sense of true empowerment and true knowing of our value, our worth, and learn how to see you as God sees you. That's what Mary is saying. That's what it comes down to. God loves all of you, like everyone, like dark, light, all in between, like it doesn't matter, unconditionally. That's why he gave us free will choice, so we could choose for ourselves what we wanted to do, even if it wasn't what he thought was best for us. It's okay, because he's letting us, that's how he loves us. He's letting us choose for ourselves. He's not telling us how to do it. So the ego will tell you how to do things sometimes that isn't always, for it might resonate or it might not resonate, but you have the choice over what you listen to within yourself and how you talk to yourself and treat yourself. I hope that helps.
Beautiful.
Such a message that we all need to hear, and we're all feeling.
We all need to hear that.
Things from time to time. It doesn't matter how spiritual you are, how awakened you are, how far along you think you are on this path. Like if you're here in a human body, you are learning this.
Yeah. So I popped this up really quickly because Minaj is asking about if Mary Magdalene can talk about the Kundalini, Mother Mary, talk about the Kundalini awakening. And that's what we just talked about. This whole piece that we just talked about was all about the Kundalini awakening. It's been labeled and given a definition, but all the spiritual awakening, the opening, tuning into your heart, loving yourself, understanding yourself. You don't got to do this massive breath work and intrinsic stuff internally and create that. That's one way of doing it. There's also tuning into yourself and having a spiritual awakening, going through your understanding yourself, figuring yourself, loving yourself. This is all part of that Kundalini awakening. Yeah, and I'm just going to post that up real quick. Yeah. Okay, so let's get to a few more questions here. So Milan is saying, with one of Khan's meditations, I had a strange experience. Best description would be like a brain orgasmic feeling on the back of my head. It lasted long after. Was it Kundalini? Yeah, that certainly was Kundalini, and it was also you decalcifying your pineal gland. That specifically what's coming in for me is that was almost like you finally decrusted the calcified pineal gland, and then it opened right up, and that activated your Kundalini. That's definitely a Kundalini awakening. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mary just wants to say there's different levels of activating your Kundalini. It's like not a one-size-fits-all approach, she's saying. So like there's a limitation to like having to describe, right, or define it in like what it is and what it isn't. It that goes back to like you have all the answers within. What is it for you? What does it mean for you? Did that experience bring you closer to source? Then it's some sort of Kundalini activation, because Kundalini is just life force energy that's always within us. And we live off of our Kundalini energy, right? It's just always flowing within us. So if it reaches a peak orgasmic, state, which is a bliss state of consciousness at any time, and you can get it from just sitting on a mountain and meditating and all of that. Anywhere, any place, it can happen randomly, like it did for me, where, well, I wouldn't say so randomly, but like my Kundalini was, and my guides, Jesus and Mary, were like, you need to merge with this soul who's in spirit form, as your twin flame, and you need to energetically merge. And through that energetic merge, I was driving my car and I was having like, I saw God and everything. I mean, I was crying. It was just like crazy. But I was driving, didn't know where I was going. I was driving circles, but so it can really happen. Like Mary said in her earliest message that I read, when you least expect it, or you can consciously, do the practices, the breath work, because Mary Magdalene teaches that too. There's a book out there. It's channeled. Can't remember who channeled the information. I think Tim Kenyon might be his name. Don't quote me on that. But it's the Magdalene manuscript, and this is what she guided me to read. It's her authentic story, because when I read it, I had all the same emotions coming up that she showed me when I was having my Kundalini awakening. And so it teaches because one thing that a lot of people don't know about Mary and Jesus were that they were twin flames, and that they were coming together in intimate ways to awaken the Kundalini, but also to charge their energy fields for his ascension path, so for a spiritual purpose. But that book kind of talks about that and how they were doing that, but also gives some exercises that you can do individually on your own breath work. It's just an extension of what Khan teaches. I mean, there's many different methods, like infinite ways, like it can happen spontaneously without even having a knowledge of it. So just be careful the ways you define it, because it's really, or even comparing yourself to others in that process of, allow your soul to guide when you're ready. Trust that it will come. Or if you feel guided to do those types of exercises, that can definitely help you awaken that.
Yeah, and that leads us perfectly into this question from Twisted. I had an out-of-body experience in February. It was raw fear all the way, yet I deeply desire to go back and control said fear. I'm having trouble going back on purpose. Any insights you might have? And this is just what Rachel was talking about, right? It's understanding when you start having an out-of-body experience, this isn't something to be fearful of. When you start having the Kundalini waking up, when you start having a shift in your consciousness, it's all about the state that you're in. So this is why where we practice and we do our courses, and what I teach, what Rachel teaches, it's all about being in love. And we only work with the highest vibrational frequencies that there are. When you're in that high vibrational frequency of love, everything is possible, everything can happen. So remember the fundamentals of this, that you are an internal being, all of us. We are a being. We exist. This isn't a body. This body isn't us. We are an energetic source that moves from body to body, to inanimate object, to a plant, to a rock, to a tree. We are that energy field, and we will always exist. We can always exist. When you have that out-of-body experience, it's just you moving. This is what happens to you every time you fall asleep at night. You are having an out-of-body experience. You don't stay in that body. You put the body to rest. And that's you essentially waking up. You're going back home, and you wake up to re-energize yourself. And then we come into the body. We say, okay, I'm going to work now. I'm going to fall asleep. And then we wake up in the body, and now we're animating this thing. And essentially we're in a dream state right now. And then we go back to sleep and go back to the energetic source. So if you understand that you are love, that you are an internal being, and as you move yourself in that internal being, understanding this, that when you have that out-of-body experience, play with it, explore it. There's nothing wrong with you. You are perfectly safe. No harm can come to you. And when you feel that, you can say, I'm perfectly safe. We're just observing. I'm in pure love. I only allow love to come in my space. I only allow love to be my space. I am love, and that's the only thing that I operate in. And when you start putting yourself that definition and protection around you that you are love, these experiences can be now observatory and fun and curious. And what can I do? Oh, I'm out of my body again. What can I do now? Let me go explore. Let me go see. Oh, let me try going through the ceiling. Let me see what happens there. And then you get to play. So allow yourself to have that experience. Yeah. Have you, Rachel, had that experience?
Yeah, well, yeah, because when I was going through the Kundalini, so it was like I merged with Source, but then like it wasn't it. Like it was like ongoing. For the first 2 or 3 weeks was pretty intense. My guides told me you need to go on a detox now. As soon as that happened, they were like, you need to go on a 12-day water fast cleanse, you know, because this high vibrational energy is going to come through your system. And I had all kinds of crazy symptoms. I had a lot of emotional purging. But I also had like weird sensations, like in my heart chakra, like palpitations and like heat, and panicky kind of feeling. Like it could give you that, but my guides told me it was a Kundalini thing, and so I had to look that up because I didn't really know what that was. I didn't know. I had heard of it, but like I wasn't looking into twin flames, Kundalini. I wasn't there with that. I did not have this sense of that happening. So I had to look it up, and it explained my symptoms. But I just knew from my teachings and my guides being present not to be in fear. That was like the number one thing. Like when you're having these symptoms, don't panic. Lay down, rest, like bring in like that high vibrational energy. Stay in love. Like don't tune to the fear aspect of it, and attach to that, because that's where like your body gets panicky, right? And naturally, because it's afraid. It doesn't understand what's happening. So just, yeah, when you stay in a calm state of love, then it just subsides and it's fine. You know, it is normal in a certain sense, you know, to have those reactions, but just get to a place where you're saying, I'm safe, I'm okay, I'm in love, you know, like what Khan was saying, because he's better at teaching that aspect of it, like the actual, like how to condition and reprogram through meditations and things like that. But that was how I was able to do it. Because it would just come in spontaneously. I mean, and I'm a parent. I've got 3 kids. You know, like I'm like, what is going on? Like, so I had to just trust it and allow, right? Allow without attaching to fear.
Yeah, so true. And that is a process. We need to practice that, and over time we learn, and that's just what gets taught. That's why I teach in my internal groups and whatnot. So yes, that's what we do there. Thank you, Milan, for that super sticker. Very much appreciated. That's very sweet of you. Thank you, mate. That's wonderful. I'm just gonna pop this up before we end up today's show. And Julie says distilled water attaches to heavy metals and toxins, helping to remove them from the body. Does MM agree? I'm going to say no on that. You know, that there is the distilled water is good. There is an element that is helpful to the body, but it's void of all minerals. You need to add Celtic sea salt into it in order to give it the properties it needs in order to absorb into the cells. Otherwise, the cells of the body says, I don't know exactly what this is, or there's nothing in here that I need to replenish myself. So within the water, or mineralized water, or water, distilled water, and you add Celtic sea salt, or take a piece of Celtic sea salt and put it in your mouth and suck on it, that will give you all the minerals. Celtic sea salt has all the minerals that you need. It's the electrolytes. When the cells have the minerals and the electrolytes, then it's able to absorb the water. Without it, it's not necessarily as helpful. The great thing is about distilled water is that it has nothing in there. There's no bad and there's no good. So this is why I'm going to add Celtic sea salt to make it better. If you want to detoxify, this is where you start getting to things like seaweeds, those heavy, dark greens. That's what attaches onto the heavy metals. That's what's detoxifying. You can also look at things like zeolite, and zeolite will attach onto the nanoparticles and then move through your system that way. So consider looking at that. I didn't necessarily fully tune into Mary Magdalene on that. Rachel, I don't know if you want to add on to this.
But that is what my guides told me about Celtic sea salt. They told me that a while back. Putting it on your tongue too, it helps hydrate your cells, or allow your cells to like retain the hydration through the water. But yeah, mineral water, number one for sure, over distilled for sure. Because that's just been a main thing that I've just known through the teaching of my guides for a while. But yeah. So.
Yeah. So there's our last one here, because we can shut up here. Milan says, my twin flame was a trigger for my ego death. Everything I cared about just died, but I'm still doing all that to bring her back, not in 3D, and it's not looking good. Okay. So I'll say quickly, Rachel is the twin flame expert in here. She's all about the twin flames and relationships, and she's amazing at it. So we'll check out Rachel. On the other side, notice how you said ego death. So when we start looking at our problems, our emotions, the things that are happening to us, the twin flame is meant to trigger you, to make you to look at what you are afraid to look at. It's a mirror image of who you are. So when you look at these things, that instead of the ego death, you don't want to kill it. That's where the negative belief system comes in, that it doesn't want to die, it needs to survive. So this is when you start going into actually physical death symptoms, because the ego or in the negative belief system doesn't want to die, it needs to survive. So rather than look at it as an ego death, we want to look at it as loving it, understanding it, and allowing it to be in the same space as you. So if we think about the nature of the ego, the nature of the negative energy, or the nature of, let's say, even a tiger. Even though a tiger kills, it's not doing it out of maliciousness. It's just doing it because that's how it functions. So your ego has a specific function. So rather than hate the tiger and want to kill it from extinction, we want to love it and understand it and allow it to survive, which is how we want to deal with some of these negative aspects on the twin flames. So now I'm being guided to pass it over to Rachel, because she is the twin flame expert. So Rachel, what do you want to say about this?
If you can be an expert on that, I don't know. I think it's a unique journey for all souls. But yes, since I've met mine, again, he's on the other side. I met him only on the other side. So I'm married, happily married. I have a husband, 3 kids, happily married. This was for a spiritual union, not a physical union. So the highest purpose for meeting a twin flame is for a spiritual awakening, right? So a twin flame meeting is a catalyst for a spiritual awakening, enlightenment. It's going to get you on your journey. So it was a trigger for that, like you said, in your experience. And when I met mine, so I had already gone through my major ego death that got me into spirituality and awakened me into mediumship. But this was a higher level. My husband's a very close frequency match to who my real twin is. And that was shown to me by source, because it was a little confusing because they had such similar energy that I could barely tell which one is it. Is it this one or this one? But it was the one that Mary and Jesus were bringing to me. And the reason is so we could emerge at a higher self level, so that I could activate more of my kundalini, so that I could activate more of my spiritual gifts, so I could have that balance of the inner masculine and feminine energies, that I'm able to bring that frequency of heaven on earth now to embody it in human form. So that is the highest purpose of the twin flame, to activate you on your spiritual journey, which is going to involve healing. For sure. If it's your real true twin flame, you're going to have to go through healing. And it might not be with that person in your physical life. So it's just going to spur you into a journey of healing and awakening, all of that, to get yourself aligned and balanced, inner feminine and masculine, and all of that. So the quick advice from Mary is just align with source. Continue to align with source. Pursue source. Pursue a connection with source, your higher self, your divine. If it's your twin, you're merged at that level. You're always in union on a 5th dimensional level, whether consciously they're showing that to you in the physical or not. So you're never really truly disconnected from source, and you're never really truly disconnected from your twin flame in that way. So just trust source and continue to align with source, your higher self. And then at the same time that you're doing that, detach from the timeline as to when you feel that's going to happen. If it's going to happen, if you're going to come into union with your twin flame in this earthly lifetime or not, or when that would happen, just detach from that and focus on your inner healing journey and coming into full alignment and embodiment with your authentic core soul frequency. Because if that's your twin, by doing that, it's going to have an effect on them as well, because you guys are the same, two of the same soul, right? So 2 halves of the same soul. So that's how the heart, you get into the heart, you start being your authentic self, living free meaning letting them live free too, because that's unconditional love, right? I mean, You have to love them for where they're at as well. And loving them sometimes means letting them make choices that they want to make. Like God gives us the free will right to do as children of God. He's not bossing us around. He's giving us the choice. So give them the choice and love them where they're at, but continue to love yourself, right? And embody that for yourself, and detach from the need to have them in your life. And if it's meant to be, Source will bring you back together for sure, because that's just, Source has a plan, and if that's destined in your path, then it will come to be in ways that you might not even be able to imagine. So just let it go and be yourself. Yeah.
So remember what we said earlier about, it doesn't matter what the problem is or where you are, and what your goal is. What Mary Magdalene said at the start, whether you're having a spiritual awakening, you're opening up your Kundalini, whether you're trying to connect better with Source and Spirit, whatever it is, this is all part of your awakening. And the end result is that you can have it all. You can talk with spirits, you can connect with love, you can connect with God, you can connect with whoever and everything. You can have your awakenings. All that comes through, and it's all through encompassing the love. And in order to encompass the things that you don't want in your life, you need to embrace it and love it. And that's where the solution is the same. Embrace all your problems and look at it, observe it. And this is definitely part of what we do. Yeah.
And one more thing,
yeah, please go ahead.
Wanted that to be the last one, but I have someone from my Patreon that actually showed up in my dream last night who had a question for Mary. It is a general message, she left it on my Patreon when I advertised that we were doing this. And because she showed up in my dream last night, her name is Marie. I would like to just put this out to Mary Magdalene.
Thank you for saying that. I completely forgot.
Yeah, no worries. I wanted to just save it real quick to the end. So Marie asked, anything to help me, because she wasn't going to be able to make it. She's working today. That's why she couldn't be on the live. Anything to help me on my ascension path. Much love and gratitude. So and I'm just hearing, continue to be yourself and spread your light, because you're a powerhouse, like light worker out there. You're being called in many different directions, and you're free to move in many different directions. So it's just about continue to follow that inner calling and continue to listen to that inner voice and trusting your intuition where you're being guided and led, because you're on your highest path. You're on your highest outcome and timeline. And in your heart, like when truth resonates at a certain level, that helps you embody or like blossom. Like you're in this process of like blossoming into this beautiful rose. And I feel like you are also going through high-level initiation practices, spiritual practices that are going to take you to new heights and elevate you in your consciousness, or just even like your source light and your reach into the cosmos, even because I know you connect with your galactic star family as well, and you work on many different dimensions in your spiritual practices, and with Mother Earth and the healing work you do for her as well. So just, you're very multidimensional in your talents and your skills, and you have a broad reach in your frequency. And so just continue following your path, is what you're saying, and developing those gifts, and just putting that big smile on your face and going out into the world like proud of who you are and being yourself. And you're very much helping to wake people up into that frequency of love as well, unconditional love for themselves. And you're empowering people through the work that you do as you're studying to be a counselor, and you'll be finishing your master's soon for that. So yeah, there's definitely, Mary's like rooting for you on your team. Like ask them for help and assistance anytime, she's saying, and Master Jesus too.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm glad we had that. I want to thank Rachel for joining in. We are live streaming right now on Rachel's YouTube channel and my YouTube channel. You can find the links in the description. You can also see them here, both at on YouTube. If you want to consider, go check out Rachel on her Patreon group. She has the Sacred Union Circle. She's connecting with Mary Magdalene, all the higher guys, with the Lemurians, the Galactics. She's also my partner in the courses that we teach on our 101 and 102 courses, which are currently, we just finished our 102 and we're going to be doing more. And I highly encourage you, if you want to consider, book a consultation with me. Come out to my website, book a consultation, whether it's in emotional releasing, understanding yourself, having one-on-one guidance, offering all compassionate pricing. And I also have my Patreon group if you do want to join in and jump out there. But I am probably going to be closing that off and opening up on YouTube here. That's my goal. I'm not really planning to stick on Patreon all that long, because I'm not a fan of their system.
I also have a Facebook Medium, Rachel Sahwany business page that I'm trying to grow. I kind of started a fresh one. I had an older one that I was using. But with my Patreon, I just posted recently, and I think you can see this post, what some of the services I'm going to be offering this month and into July and August. Some of the activations we'll be doing, and one of them is a Diamond Rose activation with Lady Venus, which is like a live channeling group meditation activation into that higher heart frequency and what the symbolism of the diamond, specifically Diamond Rose, offers us at this time. And I have one with the Lemurians coming up, a rainbow body light activation this month. So lots going on there. Check it out. And thank you, Con, for having me.
Lots going on. So Rachel is typically back on the first Friday of every month. So hopefully we're going to be having a lot more of these as we expand and grow. So thank you everyone for being a part of this. Really consider signing up to our newsletter. If you're going to do anything, sign up to our newsletter at conandnight.com at knr-news, sign up and come check us out. Get all of our juicy stuff. We'll let you know when things are happening. You'll get discounts, free events, giveaways as we send out a message typically once a month. So thank you everyone for being a part of this. Thank you again, Rachel. Anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
No, just love you guys. We'll see you soon.
Love you, everybody. Back on Sunday for meditation. See you there, and back here Friday for more channeling. Love y'all. Bye.